Don't go with your feelings. Go with actual numbers. You know, some people are like, well, I don't care about your facts when I have my feelings. Like, well, look, we need to go by the numbers, folks. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of What Had Happened This Week Was... So SpaceX finally successfully launched astronauts into space from American soil in the past 9 years. A construction worker fell off the roof of the new Rams Chargers Stadium. Buffalo police pushed an old man down. He got hurt, and then they went crazy. The second George Floyd autopsy was performed. It was mostly like the first one, but a little bit different. We have Tiger King news and Carole fucking Baskine. Then Candice Owens breaks down racism by the numbers and gets in trouble because she's telling the truth. And there were 39 million people in California, and I think 29 people got killed by the police. All right, so SpaceX finally got their space rocket up. They launched the first 2 Americans into orbit. They docked with the space station. So those are the first American astronauts launched from American soil in an American rocket in the past 9 years. So they reached the space station. A construction worker fell off the roof of SoFi Stadium. This is to fall up to be a construction worker and fall off of a roof is completely ridiculous, because if you're within 10 feet of the edge of falling off, you have to be tied off, you have to be wearing a harness. So somebody is going to get fired for this one, unless the guy who just committed suicide. So the Buffalo Police Department pushed down an elderly man that was protesting. Do you know how I know he was white? Because the media didn't recognize his skin color. They didn't say, police pushed down Hispanic man, police pushed down black man. They just said, police pushed down elderly man. So now what do y'all think the elderly man's color was? If you guessed white, you were right. Because nobody cares if they push down an elderly white guy. So anyway, the cops clearing the street. This old white guy comes up and is like, I'm not leaving the street. He gets in their danger zone. The cops are worried about getting hurt. They push him back, say, hey, step back. Please don't hurt us. He trips over his own feet. He falls down. The cops, immediately call in medics, but they're going to be the bad guys.
He is bleeding!
He's out of his ears! He's out of his ears! Get somebody over here! He's bleeding out of his ear! Get him medic!
2 of the officers that were at that front line that pushed him got laid off or dismissed. And then the entire other 57 members resigned in protest, and good for them. Because they were doing their jobs, they were clearing the streets exactly like they were told to do. And in Tiger King news, Carole effing Baskine got custody of the GW Zoo. Yep, she was awarded the Tiger King Zoo in a law settlement. And a sheriff from Florida finally figured out that Carole Baskine had forged her late ex-husband's will to steal all of his money when they said, oh, well, if I die or if I ever come up missing, then Carole gets all of my money. And nobody ever thought that it was odd that it was like, oh, well, if I if I die or if I come up missing, she can have my money. Who writes a will like that? So it took them 28 years to figure out that the will was fake, but they can't prosecute her because the statute of limitations has run out. So now Carole effing Baskine gets Joe Exotic Zoo and all of her ex-husband's money without reciprocity. It's a very depressing day in the Tiger King world. To close this out, Candice Owens, one of my great heroes. This girl is ridiculously smart. She can put things into context that I only wish that I could dream to. Just listen to what Candice Owens says about the actual numbers about racism in America. And then don't go with your feelings, go with actual numbers. You know, some people are like, well, I don't care about your facts when I have my feelings. Like, well, look, we need to go by the numbers, folks.
On his last name, his first name is David, who was shot and killed for trying to protect a pawn shop from looters, an upstanding citizen, an actual head of he was the head of a police his entire life, 77 years old, did everything right? So we now have to kill upstanding black citizens because a non-upstanding black citizen, a career black criminal, died. Now, did he deserve to die in that manner? No. I can't say it enough. No, he didn't deserve to die in that manner. But I will be damned if the rest of us upstanding black citizens have to suffer because of this incident that rarely ever happens in America. So here are some numbers for you people that are still believing that police brutality is a real, racially motivated police brutality is a real thing. First and foremost, okay, you have a 25% higher chance as a violent white criminal of dying at the hands of a police officer than you do as a black criminal. Last year, a total of 9 unarmed black men were killed by police officers and 19 white men were killed by police officers. For those of you that aren't good at mathematics, right, you might be thinking, oh, but Candice, white people represent 60% of the population and black people represent just 13% of the population. It doesn't matter what percentage of the population you represent. It matters what percentage of the violent criminal community you represent. And unfortunately, black community commits a disproportionate amount of crimes compared to the white community. Let me tell you, 6% of the population, right? Black men, 6% of the population account for 44% of all murders in this country, according to 2018 statistics. That is what you call a gap. And yet white people who represent 60% of the population, we represent 13, black men are 6%, only represent 50% of all the murders, right? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. A 6-point variation in a community where we are extreme minorities. We commit 50% of all violent offenses, evenly split, and we're only 13% of the population, okay? So we have a lot more encounters with police officers. And don't say the police officers are coming around because we're black. I'm talking about violent criminals. I'm talking about murder, 44% of murders, okay? You want to talk about real statistics? The police officers have way more to be fearful of in the black community than the other way around, okay? We commit, on average, a police officer is 18 and a half times more likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around. Okay, so this entire narrative is complete smoke and mirrors. It's all made up. It's just election fodder. It's white versus black because it's an election year, not because black Americans are suffering at the hands of police officers more than white Americans. Do some police officers do the wrong thing? Yes. I don't think there's anybody in the world who has not encountered a police officer and thought this person is an absolute jerk who is power tripping, whether you are black or white. We know they exist.
Facts trump feelings, folks. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you had a wonderful week. Please don't believe what I'm saying. Go and check out the numbers for yourself. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next time. Bye.